Hi there. Welcome to another episode of Galaxy Gardens. My name is Chrissy, and today we're going to talk about how our property came to be, what we've done at other places we lived, and I'm going to have Greg with me. We're going to talk a little bit about what we're planning for next year. Although we got like most of the stuff we're going to do done, we still have more that we want to do. So come with me. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to chat?
Sure.
You want to chat? Okay. Hello. I have Greg here, my husband. If you didn't know that, well, now you do. He's here with me. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the gardens that we've had before here. I've had a decent amount of people on their internet over the last couple of years just ask me what our gardens looked like before, because our garden right now is pretty epic. I like our garden very much. I pulled a lot of pictures out of our files, so I'll show you what some stuff looks like. But they were taken on not as good phones as we're recording this right now, so just be prepared for that. So I guess to start, since I have you here, I won't say what towns we lived in, but do you remember when we lived in that inner city area and we were growing containers on the stairs?
Yeah.
What was your favorite part about that?
Well, for some reason, the hot peppers came out like unbelievably well there.
They did really good.
I think that's the only thing about that apartment that was good. And I think
I liked our floors.
Oh, I'm not talking about the apartment. I'm just talking about the growing situation.
Yeah.
We couldn't really do anything, put anything in the ground there.
No. I think it was like all sand. Pretty much.
Yeah, the soil wasn't any good. We weren't living there long term. I don't even think we asked the landlord if we could plant anything. But yeah, we got really good hot peppers. It was like we were surrounded by these big brick buildings, and it got really hot in the summer. It's like an oven. And I think just something about that really did well with the peppers. I don't think anything else did that well there.
I got one eggplant, the Fatali peppers, and the Tequila Sunrises. So the Tequila Sunrise is like a sweet pepper, and it actually ripens from like the bottom out, so it looks like a sunrise as it's ripening. So that's a good sweet pepper. It likes heat, and then the Fatali is just a very spicy pepper.
Yeah.
Those did the best, definitely. Yeah, everything else, not so much.
Fatali is one of my favorites.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do here is I'll show you some pictures about what that looked like, and then we're going to go to the next property because there's not really that much else to say about inner city growing. Okay, so what you can see here are some of the smaller containers that we used to grow in. I gotta say, everything really did well. Peppers, when their roots get hot, do fabulous. You can see here. Herbs, not so much. Here you can see our fig trees. They're very small. And you can see why they don't do so well inside. I know I said there's not much to say about inner city growing, but I love container gardening. I've done it for years. I think it's so much easier to control like what kind of soil you're using and like how much water you're giving stuff, water retention, how big you want your plants to grow, because some plants will get restricted if you don't let their roots go out. That's like with berry bushes. You really don't want to put them in containers because that'll stunt their growth, but you know, when you start putting them in the ground, they'll just spread everywhere. So bonus points for container gardening, even though we don't really do that right now. So another place that we lived was in more of a suburban area, and at that point our landlord at the time did let us grow in the yard, even though he wasn't really happy about it when we took it down.
Yeah, I mean, he said it was okay.
Yeah.
That apartment was right on the river, a really big major river, so the soil was actually really good for planting directly in the ground.
It really was.
So that was pretty cool, but the amount of space we had was pretty limited.
And we had like a 18, I think the first year we were there, what did we have, like a 10 by 12 area?
Yeah, something like that.
It was really small. And then the second year we were living there, we asked the landlord at the time, we're like, hey, mind if we make this a little bigger? Like, we just want to make it bigger. He was like, yeah, sure, whatever. So then we ended up with like an 18 by 20 area, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It was right next to a big brick garage, or concrete garage, I guess. So we got some residual heat from that. But the soil there was really good. I remember I tested it with that method where you put like a little bit of soil in a container and some water and you shake it up.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like a lot of silt. Yeah.
Yeah, it's right on the river, so better soil than we have here.
Yeah. I think the greens I grew there did better than when we were living in a more like inner city area. Not like the green beans did really bad there.
Yeah.
They did bad. I'm trying to think. I have some pictures, so I'll show you those. But what do you think was like your favorite thing growing there?
There, nothing really stands out.
Oh, peppers did good.
Yeah, I always like peppers.
I'm trying to think. Oh, the potatoes. I think the potatoes did good.
Yep.
I think that was the potatoes we grew right before we moved here. I think it was like our best potatoes we ever got.
Mm-hmm.
We've tried potatoes a lot of ways. We've tried them in containers. We've tried them in the ground. We tried them actually in containers, I think 2 ways. One was just putting them in like one layer and growing. And another one was to like do like multiple layers of the potatoes. I don't think it made a difference. I think they did good in the raised beds this year.
Yeah, this year we did better with potatoes than we ever did anywhere before.
Yeah. Do you think there's any like major issues we ran into with like the other 2 places we grew at?
Well, the first place, there just wasn't space and we couldn't put anything in the ground, and
I had to water a lot. I remember that, hauling the hose up and down the staircase.
yeah, that was annoying. Second place, I mean, there was a groundhog that ate all of our broccoli.
Oh yeah.
That thing was huge.
We had the best broccoli year ever. Now, I've never been able to grow broccoli except like once when I was in college and running this small farm. But like at our like own house trying to grow broccoli, we've only had it work once. And the one year we had this beautiful row of broccoli, and I distinctly remember we were going out to dinner one night and I was looking at it and I was just like, oh, I don't really want to go back in the house, but look at this beautiful broccoli head. Just gotta remember to grab it when we get back from dinner. We get back from dinner, whole thing's gone because of groundhog. That was pretty elusive. Like he would only come out at like what, sunset?
Mm-hmm.
And like really early in the morning. And we tried everything. We tried all those like homemade like citrus and capsaicin sprays you can do with vinegar, chili powder, all that stuff. And this groundhog was so persistent. It just was like, thanks for the seasonings. We're gonna eat the rest of your broccoli and the green beans. It didn't eat any of the lettuce or kale though. We had a really good kale year that year, I remember too. I guess it just like broccoli.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like you. You like broccoli.
I do.
Kindred spirits.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever live in a suburban area, and we're in Massachusetts, we probably would have tried to shoot the groundhog. But in the suburban area we were, there's just not enough space between houses. There's like a certain distance you need if you ever want to use
believe
firearms.
It's 500 feet. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely didn't have that. And then we were considering calling animal control, and I think it was like over $100 for them to come out, and then it was like $10 per pound of animal they have to catch.
Yeah, you're better off just getting a high power pellet rifle.
Yeah, and then for certain animals, if you were to do a catch and release, it's not super legal, and groundhogs are one of those. Or they were at the time. I mean, that might have changed. But that was definitely some issues we ran into there.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have some pictures of our garden there, because I think the one we did before we moved was like my magnum opus at that property.
Yeah.
I had it so organized.
Yeah, it was very nice, but
It
we had
was
to
nice.
move in the middle of that year.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we had, so I say it wasn't a container garden, so we were growing most stuff in the ground, which was good. But we also had like a mini porch, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you'd call it?
Yeah.
It was like a mini porch. And I would have just like all of these fruit trees there. We also have like done different stuff with fruit trees over the years, keeping them like inside on a kitchen table in the winter, and then the cats would destroy them. And then I remember I got my first tent for them, and it was like mostly bananas. And as you know, with the bananas, I've put them outside to die. So we're done with that, and now this year it's pretty organized.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll show you some pictures of those. Before I do the pictures, do you have any more comments about that property?
No.
No. All right, I'm gonna put them in. All right, so you can see our initial plot here came together. Very simple, just stakes and chicken wire fence. Our first year was just peppers and tomatoes. I was very excited about that. And then as time went on, we've built more and more into this space. And I really love growing in this garden, because as you'll see in the later pictures, when everything was coming in at like the height of the season, it just looked absolutely gorgeous. We also had a little greenhouse that we were growing in, and that thing is awesome. We still have it. We're probably going to set it up next year. But you can see just how our fruit tree collection has grown as well. So we did a few seasons at this property, and this is what the final season looked like before we moved. And that was our best lettuce year. You can see that coming in now. You see how we utilized the porch, and it just looked so nice. And here we're going to be taking it apart, and this is how it looked at the end before we left. All right, so last up is this property. So when we moved to this property, we pretty much dug up the whole garden at our apartment. And we have really good friends because they actually carried it here. And the soil from the ground at the apartment we were at was so heavy because it was mostly silt and clay. I think it's heavier than our soil here.
It is, yeah.
It definitely is. And we had some good friends help us bring the whole thing. Oh, that was a good workout. I have some pictures of that. So when we moved in, because we pretty much brought our garden with us, all of those were in containers. And they did pretty good. We had our whole like alley of eggplants next to the side. We had some tomatoes that didn't die somehow. We had some peppers. And then I put in like a fall garden, which would be like in the middle of where we have our raised beds right now. But building the garden outside has been like a huge project.
Yeah. Well, we finished it. Mm-hmm.
We did finish it. I actually found some pictures of us working in the garage that I'll put in. And yeah, that took a long time. Honestly, we should have started this channel when we did that. Mm-hmm. It would have been good. How long do you think it took us to do the raised beds? We think we did our first one before it got too cold out because we put the garlic in.
To build the raised beds probably took a collective 5 hours, but then had another 5 hours at least for filling them. Not to mention building the fence around the garden. So, lots of hours.
I think we did the fence first.
We did.
I think the hardest part of the fence was, it was a toss-up between digging the post holes, because we couldn't use a post hole digger because there's just a layer of rocks about 8 inches down from the surface. And a post hole digger just ain't no match for big rocks.
Nope.
So that was pretty tough. And then I think doing the mower guard.
Yeah, it took a while.
Yeah. Did you like anything about the build? That was a tough build.
I like being done with it.
Yeah. I kept telling him the whole time. I was just like, if we do it now, we don't have to do it next year. And now it's next year and we don't have to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we just keep filling them up. I know you like the food we got out.
Oh yeah.
What was your favorite thing from this year?
Well, I had a lot of fun making hot sauce out of the peppers. The potatoes have been great. We still have a ton of them.
Yep.
A lot of green beans this year. That was great. Yeah, I don't know. Everything was pretty good.
I thought it was pretty good. I liked the chicken run.
Mm-hmm.
We built a lot this year. So right when I moved in, we had the garden that we took with us, and then I started like a small fall garden. I don't even remember what was in there. I think it was like some squash and green beans.
Mm-hmm.
Did it have anything else? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But we got the fence in, and then we spent pretty much all winter doing raised beds because we're not doing it every day. They ended up being pretty cheap though, so we ended up using pressure treated pine fence posts instead of like 2x4s because wood is just so expensive the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then we used stakes and deck screws and I think galvanized nails to put everything together. And if I remember, I think supplies included, every bed cost like $24.
Sounds about right.
24, 25.
I don't know.
I think it was 24. But that came together. But figuring that out when wood's prices still are astronomical was pretty tough. We had to drive like 30 minutes to a town that's not very close to here, even to get wood, because all of our local big box stores just didn't have what we were looking for. So do that, haul it back, make it. I got all the like berry bushes and vines that we could get, before the fall, and put those in the ground. So it's been quite a project. And then if you saw some of the last videos, just putting the mulch out, oh my god.
That is finally done with.
That took a while. I wanna know how many pounds of mulch I wheelbarrowed.
A lot.
A lot. How, and maybe somebody knows this, how much does 10 cubic yards plus probably like another 3 cubic yards from the neighbor? How much does that weigh? I'd really like to know. But it looks really nice now.
Mm-hmm.
I think it looks really nice. So looking to next year, I know you wanted to kind of change things up, at least with the hops. What were you thinking of doing with that?
With the hops?
Yeah.
Well, the way we have the trellises built right now, they're going up 20 feet to about a 7-foot tall roof of the shed.
That's only 7 feet tall?
Maybe 8, I don't know. It's very horizontal. It needs to be more vertical. So we're gonna have to buy some sort of a really tall, I don't know, maybe a flagpole or something, and then put that closer to where the hops are planted, and then tie all the rope to the top of the flagpole or whatever we use, so that way it's more vertical. Because the hops grow up, they grow towards the sun, and they just won't crawl up the ropes at the angle they're at right now. So I need to fix that before
and aren't they
it gets too late in the season.
Aren't they kind of like dragon fruit too, where they need to go up and then down, or at least sideways before they start fruiting?
Yeah, I think it's something like that.
Flowers.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we could find a flagpole.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that you want to do next year that we either like couldn't do this year, or you just had it in the works?
Grow broccoli.
Broccoli?
Mm-hmm.
We tried growing broccoli this year. It didn't work. I tried to grow it in the spring again, and that just doesn't work. Like, as early as possible. I think I put them in the raised bed in, like, April? Like, early April. And they didn't do anything, and they just got really long for no reason. So I just gave all the leaves to the chickens because we just weren't getting any broccoli. I think I just need to accept we can only grow it in the fall here.
Mm-hmm.
So when you grow it in the fall, you're pretty much just getting your starts going, I don't know, like beginning or mid-July, and then planting them out probably in August, and then harvesting, I want to say like late September or October.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I'll get broccoli one of these days. I keep buying it, and I keep buying cauliflower, and I haven't gotten any except for that one year. If I could do anything next year, other than this very complicated plan I have for succession planting in the raised beds, is maybe just get some more perennial plants, like for the front of the house. I want to get a couple big planters and maybe put more strawberries in there. I don't know. Something. Mm-hmm. Just working more on our landscaping and adding in more raised beds as we need. But yeah, you know, I think year to year, I'm always like really proud of the way I garden stuff, and then I look back at the previous year and I'm just like, oh, that looks easy, and then, you know, it's not. I think you always just build upon what you have from before, and you just keep at it, and then eventually you end up with a giant 20 by 40 garden with like 16 raised beds in it, in addition to the other raised beds on the property. And all the fruit trees we put in the ground. We got a lot of stuff. And now we get to kind of cruise. I think this year, or this next year, 2022, a lot of stuff is going to start taking off. And then 2023, I think, is going to be the year we really see like the maximum return from like all this work that we've done. Because like the raised beds will be there for like a year or two. So they'll have like real soil in them. I think it'll be good.
I look forward to it.
Yeah. Well, with that, I'm gonna show you some more pictures, and then we got some stuff to do, so we're gonna have to go. This is what everything looked like when we moved in. Lots of container plants. This was our very first garden on the property. It was so small. I didn't have any fencing, so we had to build a fence. And I had an idea in my head for what the fence should look like, and then somehow it came together. And graph paper is very helpful when building fences. We didn't fight the actual curvature of the ground. We just kind of went with it. Here you can see our construction of the raised beds. Put a couple in before it ended up getting frosty, and then at this point is in March of 2021. Started finishing them and filling them up, and they look good. Alright, so that's what the build looks like and how things pretty much looked like until we started showing you with the garden. I know, I think we started towards the end of the season, end of the summer season. But, you know, I'm really excited for next year, and got about another month to go before we even do some seed starting or germination. So we have the indoor greenhouse going, which is good. I hope everyone is having a good holiday season and that you have a safe New Year's. I know we'll have a fun New Year's, and, you know, if you can, just be nice to other people. This has been a really tough 2 years on everyone. But we'll have a new video out next Tuesday. And if you want, you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Galaxy Gardens. Or if you like our content and you're already like sharing it with people, or maybe you don't want to, maybe, you know, liking, subscribing is too hard, you can also send us a tip on Venmo if you want to. You don't have to. We are also there at The Galaxy Gardens. I actually made that. That's new this year. Or for next year, because there's some stuff I want to do. But I hope you have a good New Year's, and we'll see you next week.
Bye. Bye.